Hey, what's up, guys? It's Corey here with Dapper Dollars, and today we're going to talk about whether or not you should be putting your merch designs on Etsy as well. You ready? Let's get started. Now, for those of you that don't know, Etsy is a print on demand platform that a lot of people have been using, and a lot of people create brands on there, a lot of people create general shops. It's kind of like Redbubble and things like that, but it's just another place where you could potentially put your merch designs if you wanted to give the designs a little bit more of a chance to sell. But there are some very key differences with Merch by Amazon and Etsy. First of all, the audience is very different. Whenever you're looking at Merch by Amazon and things like that, it's more of what I would consider a Walmart type audience. I mean, it's not really the most flattering way to say like or talk about the customer base because there's usually not that much of a great connotation with Walmart shoppers, but in my opinion that's what it is. It's not a lot of great quality designs. There's not a lot of cohesiveness as far as what all is offered there. It's kind of like whenever you walk into Walmart, there's a lot of stuff there. You know, there's plenty of, it's not specialized in any one thing. Like, there's not a superhero section of Walmart t shirts. There's, you know, it's broken across in gender, but that's about it. So the same is true whenever you look at Merch by Amazon and you're looking to find a shirt on Amazon. You're not really going to get an eclectic collection of designs. That's not what sells on Amazon. But on Etsy, that is very much what sells. Etsy is what people would consider a boutique. So it's a place where people go to have very unique, very handmade stuff, stuff that is going to fit within a very small window of what they actually want. Like if people go on Etsy and they search a cyclist shirt. Like my wife is very into cycling and she loves this psychologist shirt. Like it says psychologist. But anyway, she's more of that person who's into the mindset of people who like cycling. And so she's going to go to what would be considered an online boutique in Etsy where people have a store dedicated to this one thing. Like it's just cycling. They've got cycling mugs, they've got cycling shirts, they've got all of the catchy phrases. It's very much about the culture of cycling. So those are the two differences between Merch by Amazon. So when you're thinking about whether or not you should put your shirts, put your designs that are on shirts on Merch by Amazon into Etsy as well, you need to consider if your designs on Merch by Amazon are very niche focused or are you someone who's just all over the place. And that is going to be a very key determining factor in whether or not you should do this because, like I said, on Etsy, everything is very specific. Everything is very structured into if you go into a store, you're likely going to see the stores that do really well, they have a very targeted audience. And if any of you know Matt Sheeran or RJ Martinez or Deanna Baker and Jay DeSouza, I went through their Etsy program and I started a store myself. And it is a very different experience. So, whenever you're designing these Merch by Amazon shirts and you're thinking about if you want to put them on Etsy, it needs to be a very targeted niche. And you need to have a very specific person in mind that you're designing for. And that's something to think about. And there are a lot of responsibilities that go with Etsy as well. So when you put your shirts on Etsy, it's not like merch. You're not going to just put this shirt on Etsy and see if it sells and Etsy's going to take care of it for you. You need to find a print partner. So someone like Printful, someone like Zazzle, or these other different print partners who will print print the design on the shirt for you, ship it out, and then you have to deal with the customer relations that happen after that and before that. So if someone comes to your shop and they say, hey, what are the dimensions across the chest for this? What is the sleeve length exactly? And how long is the torso of this shirt? These are all very common questions that come up on Etsy, and I've experienced it, and it is a very different situation from Merch by Amazon. Merch by Amazon, you just throw a design up. Merch handles the advertising. Merch handles getting the customer to the page. Merch handles sending the shirt out. Merch handles the returns and everything like that. There's no point in the process where you're interacting with a customer, building a relationship. Now, that's a good and a bad thing because you never get to know who's actually buying your shirts and you don't know what that person's like, so you don't know how to make designs for that person. But on the other hand, it's very hands off and it is just a mostly passive form of income. Etsy, you are going to be very much involved with the customer process and bringing customers to your shop. So if you decide to put your designs on Etsy that you're using for merch, you're going to need to be ready for a bigger process and just be ready to drive traffic to your store. There is some benefit to Etsy search engine traffic, but honestly, it's not near as advanced as Amazon's is, and it's not nearly as populated. Amazon has hundreds of times more traffic going to Amazon than Etsy has Etsy users. Etsy's growing. Etsy's doing a great job of growing their platform, but they're going to be nowhere near what Amazon is. So keep that in mind. You're going to need to drive your own traffic. You're going to need to do the customer relations, and you're going to need to do all of the things necessary to get these shirts to sell. It's not going to be as easy as Merch by Amazon. So you need to be in one niche. You need to stay in your lane. You can't get out and do, if you're in the breast cancer niche, then you can't really open up a autism, or you can't put autism awareness shirts in there. You can't put autism designs in there. You can't put leukemia in there. You've now broadened out your store to a bit of a bigger niche, and it's more of a general awareness niche, and sometimes that doesn't go very well with Etsy, because people, whenever they shop on Etsy, like we've said, they want to find a store they identify with. They want to have that connection to the seller. They want to be able to see that that person is, maybe they've got a passion behind what they're doing, or maybe there's a message that they're trying to promote, and that's what people really connect with on Etsy. So if you're going to do this, you need to make sure to stay in your lane, and you're not going to be able to, go that far outside of what the niche is, if it's breast cancer awareness and things like that. And you're going to need to make sure before you start this shop on Etsy that there's actually a demand for it, because likely all of the shops on Etsy that are ever going to be there, aside from like trends in the future, they're all already there, and they're all, the ones that are going to make sales have already made sales. So you're going to need to research the designs that you're going to potentially be putting on Etsy. You need to see if there's already a store out there that has sales. And this is a very different research process for Merch by Amazon. But again, I have a successful Etsy store, so if it's something that you want me to walk you through, then I would be glad to do that. Just drop a like and a comment down below, and I would be glad to make that video walking through how I started my Etsy store that gets at least 1 to 2 sales a day. And it's a great thing. It's a little bit of extra income. It doesn't use my Merch by Amazon designs. It's completely unique. And yeah, anyway, but I can go over that in a different video if you want. Just let me know. And so which one is going to be more profitable? Well, the answer is whichever one you put the most effort into. With Merch by Amazon, again, you're going to have the hands-off approach, and you're going to be able to crank out designs a lot faster, and you're going to just throw anything up on the wall and see what sticks. You're going to have the freedom to just design for whatever niches you want to, create ads, and get a little focused on things here and there, but you're never really going to get that connection with a customer, and you're never going to really identify who you're really designing these for outside of what you know from ads. Whereas with Etsy, you're going to get to know that customer very well, and you're going to establish a relationship with those people. You're going to have return buyers. You're going to have people who are very passionate about what this store is about, and it's going to be one of those situations where you're able to build a brand. Now, with building a brand means that you can now grow outside of Etsy if you wanted to, and create a much bigger business that isn't contingent on Etsy. So with Merch by Amazon, you've got a great opportunity to have mostly passive income. You can put as many shirts out there as you want. You can do whatever you want. And there's really not a limit on the income that you can have. But the same with Etsy as well. You're not going to probably grow as fast, because you're going to have to focus on building a brand. Unless you're someone who's experienced at building a brand, you might know how to do it faster. But with Etsy, you're going to be a little bit slower. Everything's going to get rolling, but it's not going to take off quite as fast as Merch could. Because again, you don't have the traffic, you don't have the audience that Merch has, you don't have a lot of the things that come with Merch by Amazon, but you have the potential to have an amazing brand you can move off of Etsy and potentially sell that business later if you wanted to. And so honestly, it's a toss-up. One, if you like passive income, Merch by Amazon. If you want the greatest income potential and potentially to sell that business in the future, then Etsy should be the way to go. Now, there are benefits to Etsy that Merch by Amazon doesn't have. Namely, you can have tax write-offs with Etsy because it is a business and there's a lot more that you can do to put things into place for Etsy. Merch by Amazon, your only real legal expense for Merch by Amazon that you could claim are ads. Other than that, maybe you could claim designers as well, but really if you're doing Merch by Amazon in a legit way, working with a CPA, those are going to be your only two expenses. Etsy, on the other hand, whenever people buy from Etsy, you're having to buy the product first, and then Etsy is going to pay you above whatever the customer paid. So you buy a shirt for $19, but you charge the customer $30 for it, then you now make the difference. But you have to pay the upfront cost of the $19 to buy the shirt. So what I do is, and you can look at my previous videos talking about how to use credit cards to really help yourself out. Really right now, my wife and I, we paid for a vacation to go to Missoula, Montana. We've got our cashback rewards cards that we use for groceries and things like that in the Etsy business, and that pays for Christmas every year. So we don't have to it helps with things like that, because if you put the expenses that you have from Etsy on credit cards, it's going to get paid off and you're going to be able to benefit from the points and the rewards from that. So Etsy has a bit more of a compelling drive in that aspect because you're going to be able to get tax benefits and things like that from this because it is a legit business. Merch by Amazon is technically a legit business, but it doesn't have as many write-off abilities as Etsy does. And that's my opinion on whether or not you should put designs that you have on merch up on Etsy as well. It's really a toss-up, guys, but it's one of those things that you're just going to have to decide for yourself, and it is not impossible to do both. I have the Etsy store and I have Merch by Amazon. Both of them make sales. Both of them are what I would consider successful. So if you would like to hear more about my Etsy store, just let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and remember, someone's going to do something great every day, guys. Why not you? See ya.